This cruise was one of the most shocking and surprising cruises I've ever been on. Now before going on this cruise, I didn't know what to expect, but it sure wasn't this. I didn't expect there to be big crowds, extreme heat, or an energetic crowd, but I also didn't expect the amazing activities and entertainment on board. Not to mention all the delicious food and surprisingly nice cabins. My name's Dawson from DuckDuckCruiser.com, and you're joining us on this surprising cruise on the Enchanted Princess. And as we board here, I should probably mention that this cruise did take place in the summer, so I was expecting a little more heat and maybe a little bit more of the crowds, but not to this level. And this was shown off right in Embarkation, which mind you, we got here about 10 in the morning and there was already this big of a line. And I should also mention that there are two lines, one if you don't have the medallion and one if it got mailed to you like it did for us. And if you're wondering about the medallion, well, I'll explain more about this later. And not too much later, we shimmied our way down the gangway, scanned our medallion, and we were on the ship. And what better thing to do than immediately head up to the buffet once getting on board for some lunch. But I made the fatal mistake of taking the stairs up the 10 decks to deck 16 where the buffet is.
Not a good idea taking these stairs.
Anyways, we found a seat by the window, got some food and a drink, and sat down and enjoyed it. Oh yeah, and since I took the stairs and the ship feeling pretty hot in general, I pulled out my mini fan, which I would later find out to become a lifesaver. Anyways, with lunch finished, it's now time to check out our room. By the way, this is deluxe balcony, room D722. Stepping into the room, right off the bat you have a huge closet area along with a little shelf and your safe. Further into the cabin is where your bed is, along with two nightstands and your interactive TV on the wall. Even further into your cabin is your sitting area with a small couch and a coffee table to put things on. Across from all that is a little desk area where you have a lot of your plugs along with the phone and the mirror. Next to this is also the mini fridge. And back at the front is your bathroom, which yes, does have the dreaded princess shower curtain, but for me personally, I had no problems with it. I also do have to say that this bathroom is a little bit tight, but for some reason the shower does feel kind of spacious. Oh yeah, and you also have a toilet, a sink, and some more storage. And now that we're actually in the room, let's go check out the balcony. And you can see this is where the deluxe balcony part comes in because the balcony is way bigger than normal. I also do need to mention that the medallion makes entering your room really cool. And as soon as you start walking to the door, the medallion automatically unlocks your door. And this turned out to work a lot better than I thought it was, so that was a pretty big surprise. Now all I gotta do is put on my life-saving neck fan, and it's time for sail away. Alright, just watched Sail Away, so now it's time to go eat in the main dining room, Santorini, something like that. Anyways, I'm hungry, that main dining room is calling my name, so what better to do than go eat? And here we are, Santorini. This is one of the 3 dining rooms on board, but the weird thing is they are kind of hard to get to. Santorini and Capri are near each other in the middle, and the other dining rooms in the back lower down. Anyways, let's get seated and start off with some bread and put in our orders. First piece of bread for the cruise, so let's try it. That's pretty good bread, can't lie. And as for appetizers, I went for the Caesar salad. Well, while it's certainly not much salad, it's a salad and it still looks pretty good, so we're gonna try it. It's got a lot of cheese, and it's got that good flavor too, so yeah, it's a pretty good salad. And for a main dish, I went for the fried chicken. Now, if you thought I was getting steak, you've probably seen my other videos, so I don't blame you, but if you haven't, go check that out after this one. Anyways, gone for Cajun fried chicken, and it looks really good, so we're gonna try it. That's good, it's very crispy. And for the best part of the meal, the dessert, you know I had to go for the strawberry cheesecake. Yes, it's good, strawberry cheesecake. And now that dinner is finished, let's do the only logical thing and buy a ship model before going to the show. And if you're new here, yes, we do have a weird obsession with buying ship models on every new ship that we go on. And as for the show, tonight is a comedian and he was pretty good. And with the show ending, before we headed to bed, we decided to check out one of the game show's Liars Club, which honestly turned out to be more funny and entertaining than the show was that night. And after a long embarkation day, I think it's time to head to bed. Good morning. I say that we go on the balcony for a little bit before we head to breakfast. Okay, so maybe the camera fell, but that's not gonna stop me from hiding a duck on the way to breakfast in the main dining room. And as we arrived, we were shown to our table and served some pastries. Alright, got my pastries. They're looking super good. I love good pastries, so try the blueberry muffin. It's very soft and sweet, and it's just all around very good. And for the main course, I went for a cheese omelet with some bacon and hash browns. Alright, so we got our omelet. Looking really good. We're gonna try it. Alright, that's really good. It's got a ton of cheese in it. It's very nice and eggy, so it's good. And we got the amazing hash browns over here, so we're also gonna eat those. And now that breakfast is finished, what better thing to do after eating than immediately go swimming? So we're swimming early in the morning because it might be a little cooler. There's the elevator. It might be a little bit cooler than normal, so it's still gonna be burning hot. But before we get in, I should probably mention some of the other pools on board. The pool that we are currently at is one of the two main pools in the middle of the ship. There's also another pool at the back of the buffet, which we'll be heading to next. Oh yeah, and there's also the retreat pool at the front of the ship, not to mention all of the hot tubs littered around the ship. Anyways, back to getting in, and let me just say, the water feels absolutely refreshing in this heat. But something that did not feel refreshing was the hot tub. Don't ask how. I got myself into the hot tub. You know, if I stay here for much longer, I think I'm gonna start sweating, so we're gonna go to the pool now. And with a nice refreshing morning swim in, it's time to head back to the room to change, but to our surprise, going out on the balcony, there was somehow broken glass there. I'm pretty sure that somebody dropped some glass onto the balcony next to us and it spilled over, but that's just crazy that this happened. I'm just very glad that nobody got hurt from this. Anyways, comment down below if this has ever happened to you. This is just kind of crazy. Anyways, after changing, we made our way to the theater for a cooking demonstration with a galley tour at the end. And I gotta be honest, this cooking demonstration was probably the second most funny thing I've seen on this ship. The first thing I'll show you later tonight. And with the demonstration ending, the mass exodus of people began, all heading to the galley tour. And even with the surprising amount of people, it is still very nice that a cruise line like this is willing to give you a mini galley tour for no upcharge. I mean, we even got to see some crew members seeing country roads too. And at the end of the tour, they did have some cool princess shot classes for only $2, so we had to get one of those. And before we head to lunch, now is probably a good time to talk about what kinds of activities happen on board and what they are like. Well, just like most cruises, you have all of the normal things like shows in the theater, live music, trivia, and just things like that. But on Princess, you also have many game shows, which are honestly some of the best I have seen at sea, which was something I was not expecting. And another thing that really makes these activities better is that the cruise director and entertainment staff are very involved and makes the experience even better. Plus, the venues are big enough and fit the needs of these activities. Anyways, back to lunch, and today we'll be making use of our 2 casual dining perks from the Plus package and be eating at O'Malley's or the Irish Pub on board. A great tip with this, if you want to see, make sure to get there early. Even for lunch, this place fills up. Anyways, after sitting down, I got myself a Coke, and pretty soon after that, our food came out and I went for the fish and chips. Alright, so we've gone for a bit of more Britishness, I guess. Fish and chips. Let's try it. You know, it's honestly pretty good. Put some lemon on that, you know. Yeah, pretty good. And for dessert, I went for a Guinness chocolate cake. I've been waiting for this beauty of a cake to appear to me all my life. Anyways, let's dig in. You know, that's good. It's like a darker kind of chocolate taste, but it's still good, and I'm definitely gonna eat all of it. So yeah. Now would also be a good time to explain what the Plus and Premier packages are on Princess. These packages are similar to things like More at Sea on NCL or Have It All on Celebrity, but Princess has the added benefit that it's a really good deal. You see, these packages will cost you a daily amount per person, but the great thing is that they include things like Wi-Fi, drinks, gratuities, and even more. Oh yeah, and here's a chart that shows you more of what's included and how much they cost per day. And if you're wondering what casual versus specialty dining is, I'll explain that later at dinner tonight. And just as a quick note, before we went to our next activity, we went back to the room real quick and I had the great idea of seeing what was the temperature outside since it was already pretty hot outside. So I decided to put my thermometer outside for a little bit and I came back to it and it was 102 degrees. I mean, that's pretty ridiculous if you ask me. No wonder we're all sweating. Anyways, we hit a duck before our next activity, which would be an officer's informational talk. And with the talk ending, we made our way over to the piazza to watch the captain's champagne tower, and honestly, this was pretty cool. And with the champagne poured, what better thing to do than go eat some dinner, and for tonight we will be eating at Gigi's, or basically the fancy pizza place on board. And I'm straight up just gonna spoil this, it's not really worth it. Unless you want that sit down, more fancy, more customizable experience, it's not worth it because the pizzas on the Lido deck are just as good. And the only real reason that we are there is because we get 2 free casual dining choices per cruise due to our plus package. Anyways, let's get seated and put in our orders. And as for an appetizer, I went for this thing, however you say that.
I have no clue what I've gotten myself into. An appetizer's included, and I'm gonna make the most of that. So, worst case, we just eat the mozzarella cheese. So let's dig in. It's not bad, but the cheese doesn't have much taste. It's almost like an egg. It's weird.
Anyways, time for something simpler, and for a main I went for a cheese pizza.
Not too much to say about this. Cheese pizza looks good, so let's try it. That's a good pizza. It's very cheesy. It's just good.
And now time for dessert, and I went for the tiramisu.
Moved over because the sun was like hitting me. It was super hot. I was basically getting into a sweat just sitting doing nothing. So you had to move over a bit, but that's fine. But I dig into this. Looks super good, so let's try it. You know, tiramisu is not usually my thing. This is definitely one of the better ones. It's pretty good.
And as we head out of here, now is a good time to explain casual versus specialty dining. So basically, casual dining is a cheaper, less fancy specialty dining where the food might not be as nice, but they are cheaper and you still do get 2 included in the plus package, and unlimited in the premiere. Anyways, it's showtime, and for tonight it is a guest singer, and it was fair to say that she was really good. And with the show finishing, it's time to head back to the Vista Lounge for yet again another game show, and for tonight, it's the yes or no game show, and while this might not be the funniest game show, it is still very entertaining and always great to see. And with only one contestant winning the yes or no game show, it's time to head to the Piazza for another game show which would turn out to be the funniest thing I would see all cruise. I mean, just look at these graceful dancing skills. And with that spectacle of what you might call a dance show finished, it's time to head up to the room to head to bed because we got a busy day tomorrow. Well, good morning, all the way from Roatan, Honduras, and as you probably saw last night, we put out our breakfast room service order, so let's go eat some breakfast. Yeah, that breakfast wasn't too good, but anyways, we got a snorkeling excursion today, so let's head out for that. And yet again, I find myself walking through duty-free shopping to go on an excursion. Already sweating, and it's like almost 8 in the morning. It's gonna be a hot one, but we're going swimming, so maybe it won't be as hot. It's hot! And not too shortly after finding the line for our excursion, we made our way over to the bus and we were off to go snorkeling. And after getting to the beach area, we got some snorkeling gear and made our way to the boat. And after getting on the boat, I realized that they gave us the good life jackets that actually let you dive down. This is always great to see because it really bugs me when they give you a life jacket that you can't even dive down in and you're just stuck floating on the surface. Anyways, pretty soon we arrived to the shipwreck and I wasted no time and jumped straight in. Speaking of the shipwreck, now is probably a good time to explain what this tour even was. So basically, this was a snorkeling tour that brought you to a shipwreck and a coral reef that also included a little time on the beach with a free lunch. Anyways, after a little swim through the coral reef, we had arrived at the shipwreck and it was fair to say that this was a really cool experience. And once getting back on the boat, it was a short ride before we were back to the beach to enjoy some time there. And after spotting some kayaks on the beach, I thought that'd be a good idea to try those out before getting some lunch. And the kayaks turned out to be a good idea because it was very peaceful and relaxing out there on the water. And after coming back from the kayaks, it was time to get some beef empanadas that they were offering. And let me just say, those things were really good. Oh yeah, and they also gave us a bottle of water. And with our empanadas ate, we made our way back to the bus to head back to the port area. And once getting back to the port area, we decided to try out this cool tram thing, but in reality, I wouldn't recommend this. The tram stops about every 2 seconds and turns a 5-minute walk into a 15-minute tram ride, but you still do get those nice views. And once again we walked through the duty-free shopping, but to my surprise I found that Princess was handing out some cold towels, which is always really nice, and this was just something I wasn't expecting. Anyways, we got back on the ship and made our way to the room. And with a nice change of clothes, I say that we go make use of our 2 free premium desserts per day from the Plus package and get some chocolate cake. We also made the decision to eat in O'Malley's since it was closed and it had less people in it. And after demolishing that chocolate cake, the ship dropped the lines and it was time for sail away. And we also got to hear the cool Love Boat horn. And with sail away complete, let's head to the dining room for dinner, but today we're in Capri since it's anytime dining and we wanted to eat a little bit later. And as we were seated, to our surprise, we realized that our table was practically in the galley, but that wasn't really a problem since the table did still feel more private.
So it is Italian night, and we got some bread, so I'm gonna try that too. Yeah, that's pretty good bread, so we're gonna get our orders and let's just get going. Alright, we went for fettuccine alfredo as an appetizer. Didn't know they did that on this cruise line, but they do, so not complaining. You know, I've definitely had better, but this is still pretty good, and it's an appetizer, so.
And for our main, I went for the steak option.
Alright, so we got our steak, and we're gonna eat it, obviously. That's definitely a nice and juicy steak, pretty good. And you already know we had to go for a cheesecake. Not strawberry, it is lemon meringue cheesecake. But still, cheesecake. That's way better than I expected. It's lemony, like, got the meringue in it, and so it's cheesecake. It's just good.
And with a duck left and dinner finished, we sat down for the production show, which was this cool bar show. I should also mention that if there is a production show, there will be a significant amount of reserved seats for those people with the Princess Premier package. And after the show, we decided to check out another game show, but this just turned out to be people yelling at each other to guess 10 things in 60 seconds, so we didn't really like that, so we ended up leaving early. Anyways, I think it's about time to head to bed, but first, let's do a mini review of the Enchanted Princess. So before coming on board, like I said, I didn't really know what to expect, but I sure did come away with a more positive look than a negative look. I really did enjoy the activities and entertainment on board the Enchanted Princess. I also do have to mention that the rooms are really nice. I mean, you get a full walk-in closet, that's pretty cool. And as for the ship itself, well, it was clean, the medallion technology worked way better than I thought, but personally, the layout of the ship just wasn't my favorite. And as for the food, while it wasn't nothing outstanding, it still was tasty and enjoyable. And I do also now understand that the heat and crowds was probably a summer cruise thing, so that's just something we need to be wary of next time. Anyways, I really did enjoy this trip and would definitely go on another Princess cruise. Anywho, let's get back to going to bed. Good morning. Well, today is disembarkation day, so let's make our way off the ship.
As a reminder.
Well, that pretty much concludes today's video. Thank you guys for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and comment down below if you enjoy Princess Cruises. And with that said, always remember to have a ducky day.